interesting topic. And hold on, let me turn my mic on. Yeah, I got an interesting topic, YouTube, and it's called, as you can see, the black man and God has the same enemy. And I think that as black people, we looking at this all wrong. We're not looking at it from a third eye spiritual perspective. We're looking at it from social algorithms and mind control that the powers that be have inserted into our community. I was looking at something today that says that artificial intelligence controls everything you buy, listen to, watch. Your, it's like your phones and your computers are programming you through artificial intelligence. You have a smartphone in the hands of ignorant people. Again, like and share and subscribe to this video because we're going to get deep. And one of the reasons that I made the title the way I made the title was because this is mostly a Christian country. So they say. And most of our people, black people, they believe in the Bible and Christianity. They believe in the chosen people. They believe in that God is going to come back and protect them from some wicked people or whatever. But in all actuality, the wicked people that's controlling everything and pulling the puppet strings are people like Joe Biden, people like you see in Hollywood, your actors and whatever. Earlier, I did a short talking about the Section 8 crisis. And the reason they called it a crisis, and you can go in my community section to see other information, is because they're not accepting Section 8 vouchers. So that means people have been holding vouchers for months and are homeless. And they expect that the homelessness is going to create crime, and some people are going to be put in mental institutions. And it's been going on for months, but it's by design. Because when have you ever known renters and landlords to deny Section 8 vouchers? They would rather be at the mercy of somebody paying them physically than getting the governmental assistance that comes from Section 8 vouchers. But I'm going to show you how this is on purpose. And now it's designed to be another form of genocide, another form of crime, another form of the destruction of the black community. Check this out. This for fair usage, commentary, educational purposes. Check this out.
Would technically be in an apartment right now if you could find one that would accept the voucher.
Yes.
Both have been approved for the rental assistance program, but neither can find a landlord that will accept it.
I had my voucher in December.
Avon was approved more than a year ago. Both say they were given outdated lists of potential properties to try. It is up to them to make call after call and pay application fees that get them nowhere.
What's the use of a voucher and I can't do anything with it?
Nikita Blanc is getting her master's in sociology at Georgia State University.
Now I'm going to stop right there. They say they're getting the vouchers, but the vouchers are no good. But they still have to pay out of pocket a fee for the landlord to just deny them. This is by design. This is designed to create homelessness. This is designed as a further destruction of our community. With the price gouging, a price of a dozen eggs being $5.
As part of the program, she spent a year working at the Marietta Housing Authority.
I've seen the desperation in a lot of people's faces when they can't find a place.
Moved by her experience, she is working with other students to figure out why landlords are locking out tenants on Section 8.
We just want to know, did you not get paid on time? Was the relationship with the tenant bad? They're going to see a huge increase in homelessness women, children, the elderly, our most vulnerable, shout out to cry, our most vulnerable populations will be suffering.
You know, the homeless population in America is really increasing, and the majority of these people are Black American people. Because Black American people are always the one that's going to suffer more in this country due to the anti-Black racist system that's built deep in.
Now I'm going to stop right there. Now, the reason I included this thing with Section 8 into the title, because I did other videos where I was showing that the government and the system were turning their backs on Black women who actually put them in office. And they're throwing them in the same boat and category as they have done to Black males. So now you have Black women and their children who are going to be homeless. And the nature of any woman is to do whatever she has to do to protect her children. But you can't think of this as no isolated incident, and you can't take out the fact that this is deliberate. This is a deliberate attack on the stability and welfare of Black families. They give you a voucher knowing that they're price gouging on rent and cars and food. And then your alternative is to take a job and give up the voucher, and you take the job and you still can't afford 3 times the rent. This is a last-ditch effort to annihilate our community and the cohesiveness of the community. You've been seeing all through the news where they're trying to replace Black people in the workforce and as a minority with Hispanics, Mexicans, and people from South America. That's why they opened the borders. The Democratic Party is creating a new base because they have seen, and they're seeing now, that all the pandering they did to Black women, they can't carry the vote next election because of the gender politics that was injected into the psyche of the Black community. So they have no use for them. So they abandon them. You know what I mean? Even with the workforce, all the new jobs that they're having is manual physical labor. They took the time during the pandemic to train computers to do all the clerical work that the sisters and women were doing from home. They followed their keystrokes. And after the pandemic, those jobs are gone. The market's full of manual labor, physical jobs. And guess who's not being hired or even considered? Black women. They're giving those jobs to the men. They're giving those jobs to immigrants. They're giving all those jobs that computers can't do to men and other minorities and other ethnic groups. And this is by design. The main reason that it's so paramount for the government to destroy the Black community is because we are the only people in this country who are entitled to reparations and redress for 400 years of oppression. We are the only people who fit the description of the chosen people of God in the Bible. If you study the teachings of Elijah Muhammad said, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic Black man. The Black man is the original man. He is the man that was made by God. And every other species of mankind comes through him. We are the only ones to where genetically 1 drop of our blood makes you Black and changes social demographics, racial demographics. The Black woman, because she is the original woman, her genetics threatens the genetic annihilation of all other races of people. You got to think about this, Black people. Hispanic people don't like you. Chinese people don't like you. The small hat people don't like you. Puerto Ricans will turn against you if you a foundational Black America or American descendant of slavery, whichever terminology you prefer to use. But what the key is who are we spiritually? And you got to stop looking at what's happening without seeing the spiritual aspect of it. If you look at your religion, everything that God says don't do, the Democrats and the democracy and the white power structure is making mainstream. Everything that God said don't do, they're saying you can do under the guise of you have a right to. Now they're telling your children that your children have the right to choose their gender at 5 and 6 and 7. They said that you can't be called man and woman anymore as parents. You have to be called guardians. They're changing your whole language. They're telling you on YouTube that when a person is killed or something, they're changing the term. You have to say delete it, as if we all are part of the matrix, as if we all are part of some cyberspace. You got to understand that we in the metaverse. When somebody passes away now, what are we saying? They've been deleted. When you get mad at somebody now, what do? You want to cancel them. Look at the terms, look at the language that's coming out. Gynocracy, incel, manosphere, and so on and so on. They're changing the language, and then changing the language, they're changing your understanding of what's going on. Black men have become so dissatisfied with all the negative propaganda and the narrative that they paint about us that we've opted out. Black men have opted out. They've opted out of becoming mainstream. They've opted out of trying to appease to others. Because everybody wants to be us until it's time to be us. Everybody want to be a nigga until you start having nigga problems. You know what I mean? You want to dress like a nigga. You want to listen to his music. You know, you want to date his women. You want to jack his swag. But when it comes time to these problems, you choose whiteness and you choose mainstream. But you have to remember that the black man has the same enemy that God has. And if you're siding with the enemy against the black man, you're really siding against God. And I know that's deep, but you know it's the truth. That's why there's such an attack and assault on our character and breaking us down. Because in the back of the powers that be mind, they feel that if we ever get enough power and enough unity, we'll come for the reparations that they're refusing to give us. Or we'll side with one of their enemies who happens to befriend us. There's no motivating force like guilt. If you make some persons feel guilty, they're going to not want you around. So now, in this last final ditch effort of destroying the community, they're attacking the women. They're attacking them through the jobs, the Section 8.
Into America. Every area of America has deep ingrained anti-black racism on autopilot. Same thing when it comes to
the racism is on
Section
autopilot.
8 and anything else. Now these landlords, even though Section 8, from what I was, told by, he did an interview with a man, told me that Section 8 pays on time. They always get their money. Some people love Section 8 housing because they get their money versus they said someone else like just a renter who may not having a bad time, or etc. But there are people now that's not accepting Section 8 anymore. They don't want Section 8. Some of them say that it's the kind of people that's moving into these homes. Some of them are destroying homes. I've heard stories even from black landlords and say they didn't want to accept Section 8 anymore because of what's being done to their property. So,
And what they've done is, what they're saying is, they've stigmatized the people that got Section 8. The benefits, you see how tricky this devil is. The very thing that he gives you as a benefit and assistance, he uses against you to say that you're unfit. People who get Section 8 have been stigmatized because they say that there's families that are generationally on Section 8. The mama was on Section 8, then the kids get on Section 8, and the grandkids get on Section 8. So nobody has a work history or the know-how to go out there and actually see how tough it is getting homes without that voucher. When they're telling you that you have to make 3 times as much as the rent. And it's by design. I want you to go to my community section and look at other podcasts and lectures I did dealing with systemic racism and who is behind these things that's going on. Who is behind the metaverse? Who's behind the algorithm that controls your every movement? I'm going to show you who's behind it right now. I'm going to show you who's in the driver's seat right now. I want you to listen to this. I'm not going to keep you too long, but I want you to listen to this before you go. Like, share, and subscribe to the video. Listen to this.
Will become the predators.
This is Joe Biden talking about your kids.
President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of
They
society.
created the ghetto. They created second-class citizens. They created niggas and Negroes.
Beyond the pale, and it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
I'm going to play it again for you.
Become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them.
Think of what Joe Biden said. He said, we created them. We created them, but we still got to get rid of them.
Beyond the pale, and it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Wow.
Become the predators 15 years from now.
That's what your president said. He said, you got to take you out of society because you're predators. Even though the system in the society created you, the situation that got you all messed up, they ain't taking no responsibility. Who's taking responsibility for the people that had these vouchers but still can't get no housing? Did you see the guy said that he had a Section 8 voucher since last December? And it's by design. While we dealing in gender politics and using social media to run each other down, they're still orchestrating a plan to destroy our communities and our neighborhoods. Black men, we got to get this money. We got to build. We got to build our own institutions, build our own businesses, get out this workforce, because you see the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. If we don't stick together and do something right now, it's a possibility that this country will move on with us as casualties of war. And I know you don't believe it because you trust them so much. You trust the enemy so much. You know they said that Satan deceived the whole world. You trust them so much that you putting your life in their hands, your livelihood, and now you can barely afford a dozen eggs. What you think is next? What you think is coming down the road while you engage in gender politics? While you engage in all the nefarious and luciferic stuff that you deal with? Remember this. The black man has the same enemies of God The same enemies of Allah are the same enemies of black people. The same people who stole your identity, the same people that brought you over here in slavery, the same people who have never for 1 minute not thought about how to get rid of you or how to use you and exploit you are in control. And things are happening to you every day and you don't know why they're happening. Because you won't read a book or you won't discover what an algorithm is. You won't see how you're being controlled and manipulated. This is why they're trying so hard to censor us on YouTube. Because we're breaking away from the narrative. CBS News and Fox News and all those mainstream news medias, they outdated, they antiquated. They can't get it to you quicker than us. But if you know anybody that's having issues with the Section 8, have them get in the comments and do something about it. Inform an organization or whatever, because if you can't get housing, all the people with Section 8, they can't get housing, are homeless. On top of the fentanyl crisis, on top of the gang violence, on top of the music and the gender wars and the twerking, are you still not entertained? You still can't see that the Democrats and these people are your enemy. They're enemies to God. And you know it. Anytime they tell you that your child can change their gender at 8 and you can't do nothing about it. They taking your rights left and right. They censor you, telling you what you can and can't say. The noose is getting tighter and tighter on our necks. In a minute, we won't even be able to talk about it. I'm already shadow banned, so my stuff don't get into the algorithm unless my subscribers like and share my videos. You got to like and share. You know what I mean? Or else the voices that's trying to put you up on something gonna be shouted out by the nonsense. Sign to you out of Detroit. Keep your head on a swivel. Deuces. Don't take it for no joke. Don't take this lightly.